Well, welcome to another edition of Carnivore Bites. I'm your host, Jeff Sherman, along with Dr. Eric Lopkin. And yes, the impeachment is a ongoing situation, which we will talk about in other podcasts. But there's certainly the two issues of Elizabeth Warren and the other thing, Dr. Lopkin, that you were correct about. Let's focus on that first, the economy, which I thought was going to tank, but it's not true at all.
No, the economy is chugging along quite well.
Like really well.
We had GDP up another 2.1% over the quarter, which is better than what at any time during the Obama administration, what he was calling the new normal. So we're still doing quite well. And, basically at this point, the big thing holding the economy back is trade talks.
Which may be rectified. Because here's why I think it might be rectified. Because I think the Chinese know, they know what they're doing, that Trump probably is going to be the next president. And they know they got to deal with the guy.
Well, China has issued statements saying they want to have a deal. I think they're realizing that either one of two things is going to happen. If Trump wins, then if they don't come to a deal quickly, they've lost any kind of advantage because second term, he's got nothing to lose.
Big time.
If Trump loses, however, most of the Democrats have indicated they want to be even tougher on China than Trump does. So China's in a lose-lose situation right now.
If I was them, all honesty, I would try to sue for a deal now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, right now, the world is against them. Between the trade talks, what's going on in Hong Kong, their back is up against the wall. They need this trade deal to start turning things around for them.
100% agreed. But it's very interesting how the mainstream media, 6 months ago, and you were right, I give you kudos. I kind of absorbed that. I thought, well, we're screwed. They were a recession. It looks like it's going to be fine.
Yeah, I mean, as I said months ago, there was no real sign of a recession. There were a couple of indicators that the economy was slowing, and it has slowed. But when the economy is going gangbusters for so long, at some point it has to slow. The mainstream media tried to make a big deal about recession because that was Trump's big weak point. Trump tied himself to the economy and to the stock market. A recession would do him in. They needed this. And the Democrats and liberal pundits have known this all along. Remember, I think Trump was still in his first year in office when Bill Maher said he hopes for a recession so that Trump won't get reelected. So they've known this for quite a while.
So I think it's interesting also how the mainstream media, for at least the last year, has rooted for a recession.
Yeah, they were rooting for a recession because that was the latest trick at the time to get Trump out of office through the election. Now they've seen that's not going to work, so now all eyes are turned towards impeachment. Which
is failing, let's be honest.
Well, it is failing. The media is going big on this, but with all of the public hearings lately, the polls have not moved. None of the Democratic candidates are talking about impeachment while on the campaign trail because the voters don't want to hear it anymore.
No, I think it's the longer it goes on. Listen, I'm really as honest as I can. I think the longer it goes on, it's just nothing's happening. It doesn't shift has been pretty much the Achilles heel of the Democrats. He drove them and the gang have drove them into the ditch.
Well, I mean, between the Mueller report and the recession and impeachment, people are looking at the Democrats now as the boy who cried wolf. Every time they
Yes,
say they've got something, oh, well, no, they really didn't.
I would agree. Um, and speaking of the the actual primary, I'm really kind of amazed. Elizabeth Warren has been dropped. She might be done. I know it's premature. I think she just lied too many times.
Well, one, she's got a history of lying, which didn't go well for her, but it's actually her policies that are killing her because she's come out with these huge universal health care policies, which everybody, even the Democratic candidates, have pointed out there isn't enough money in the country to pay for
In the
this.
world, in the world.
I mean, it is
She's
absolutely
what she
ridiculous.
really is, and she's being discovered. She's an opportunist. That's all she is. She doesn't
And
believe in this crap at all. She is a very well done person. She's an opportunist. She wants to be president. She knows how to. She thought she knew how to win. She lied even to the Massachusetts electorate, saying, "Oh, I'm going to be your." She was that for like 3 weeks before she jumped into the ring. She's an opportunist that just wants to win, and she'll do anything to do that. And I think she's been outed.
I think that's true. I mean, remember at one point when she was a professor, she was a diehard Republican.
That's what I'm saying. She'll do anything, say anything, as long as it works for her. The thing's
And
a joke. So,
and now you're
what do you
seeing
go ahead?
the shift more towards the center. They know Biden can't beat Trump, so now
Oh, Biden's
Bloomberg
a joke.
has thrown himself into the race for the Democratic primary. I don't see how he can win because there are still so many voters to the left. All the Democratic candidate has to do to discredit him is point out the fact that when he was mayor of New York, he was a Republican.
And stop and frisk. Did he
Stop and
support it?
frisk is
I
not
think
going to
the
go over
Democrats,
well
and
with
I
the
didn't know.
African American
I really
community.
didn't know this. Like, I didn't think this like 3 months ago. I think they're in a world of hurt.
They really are. And I think the big problem is that their only real platform is we have to beat Trump. If they actually had issues and solutions for those issues, not these pie in the sky ridiculous plans like universal health care, but an actual health care plan to replace Obamacare, actual immigration plans, actual concrete ideas that can work to solve our problems, they could win. But instead of putting those together, they've just focused on we're just gonna defeat Trump. We're gonna impeach him. Basically all they want to do is get rid of Trump, and everything they're doing, they're throwing everything against the wall, and it's all failing.
But in closing, do you agree that Schiff was basically the Achilles heel? I think he sidetracked the party into oblivion.
I don't know if it was just Schiff, but he certainly had a big part in it. I think Nadler had something to do with it. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this because I've never been a fan of Nancy Pelosi, but she was the one trying to bring the party back to the center and get them to focus, and she couldn't herd them. It was like herding cats.
I agreed 100. She tried, and then she said, "The heck with it." She did think that the phone call before the excerpt came out or the transcript came out was going to be the smoking gun. At least I'll run with it. I bet you behind closed doors she's beside herself. In closing, what do you think?
I'm sure she is. I mean, remember, the whole idea that the Democrats have was to impeach Trump. You had what's her name in Congress yelling on videotape, "We're going to impeach them,"
The MF, yeah.
Yes, and this was long before the phone call or anything they've brought up. So they had decided they were going to try to impeach him regardless of the facts.
Okay, but in closing, does it shock you that the Democratic Party, yes, you might have disagreed, have gone so far off on the rails?
Oh, it amazes me. I thought
Shocks me.
I thought by now they'd have gotten their act together. I understood them being in chaos in 2018. They were still reeling from the loss. They were trying to take back Congress, and they did take back the House. But I thought once they took back the House, they were going to start
Agreed.
focusing on issues, and it just never happened.
Agree. Well, Dr. Lopkin, this concludes our Thanksgiving edition of Carnivore Bites. We'll be back next week.
See you then.
You've been listening to Carnivore Bites, part of the Exvadio Podcast Network. You can catch us every week on carnivoreradio.com, exvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcast Store, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever you find podcasts.